Alright everyone, it's Professor 095 back with a deck profile. It's been a while since I make an actual deck profiles for quite some time. So just to break in between the fights, the next few fight videos that I'm dishing out within this week. So stay tuned for that actually. Now I'm back with a deck profile. Then of course, if you can see on the camera and the screen here, is actually Baromagnes. So of course, I kind of want to apologize to everyone for putting this deck profile for so long, because there are some I've been struggling to try to make this deck as perfect as possible, but I would say now I'm back with the answer that I'm rather satisfied with this build, but then again I kind of have to apologize on that part, because I kind of have to delay to try to make this deck work. Anyways, now with the new setup, as you can see here, as well as the the new camera, the clear clear camera over here, I'm just gonna yeah, okay, I actually did sacrifice glass. I actually did sacrifice glass deck profile. Anyways, Baromagnes, yes, very funny, very hee hee ha ha deck, which of course the surprise of many. It's not a meta deck, okay? It's not even on the meta map anyways. But then again, I just wanted to showcase on how interesting and how powerful that this new Baromagnes and this has come in a long way, and it kind of makes Baromagnes kind of fast, thanks to the new right line, which you guys can see over here actually, and also provided with some support cards within DZ-BT04. So yeah, there will be some of the new additions inside, right? So they kind of helps Baromagnes to soul charge to a certain number of to a soul, in order for Baromagnes to activate some of the certain abilities right there, right? Anyways, before I'm saying too much, if you are first time here in this channel, and if you do like my content over here, please do like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content in the future. So let's get straight into the deck profile. Anyways, for the right line, we have the Grade 0, which is Uncanny Burning, so which is a very standard starter. If you went second, you get to draw one, so which is pretty cool. And then we have a Piquant Miasma. So the skill is that when this unit is rolled by the Sanguinary Tamer, which is the Grade 2 in 02, it's a Grade 2 which is in 04 actually. All of the right line is in the 04. You soul charge 2, and then you choose one of your vanguards and plus 5k, which is pretty cool and pretty strong, because if you were to attack with the Grade 2, it would be a 15k, so it's like a magic number. So you have to force your opponent to either guard with a 1+, or either have to take the damage. So which is kind of nice, and also you can get to soul charge 2, which is pretty good and pretty fast already. So unlike Deep Sonica or unlike Electros Button, which brings us to Sanguinary Tamer. So the skill is that when this unit is rolled by a Grade 3 Baromagnes, you soul charge 2, then after that you choose one card from a Grade 3 or less unit card from your soul and call it to Graveyard Circle. I mean, not a unique card, but you have to call a Grade 3 or less card from your soul and call it Graveyard Circle, okay? You may call it, by the way, it's not mandatory for you to call, so keep that in mind. And the best part about this Grade 2 is that you can keep on soul charging to you can soul charge 2 again, which is cool, and then you can call something out from your soul, like Brainwash, or what's the name of that card? Insight, Burning Insight, that helps you to Energy Blast 2, then you get to Soul Charge 2 again, which is cool. So which means that you are accelerating the amount of Soul Charge in the deck. It's pretty fast. So I kind of already take this right line already, so it's kind of nice. Alright. Anyways, we are going to look at Providence Disorder Baromagnes. So this new Baromagnes has a lot of skills incorporated into it. So let's go through with it one by one. So the first continuous skill, Vanguard Circle. During your turn, for each of your Baromagnes card in your soul, this unit plus 5k. So if you have one Baromagnes in the soul, this will be an 18k. If it has a 2, then it becomes comes to 23. If you have 3, then it's gonna be like 28. So which is very solid number on his own, and not to mention that if he persona, then he can go for like as high as 38, which is also really interesting and very nice a power to attack with, right? So, and not to mention that in addition to this, you have the second skill, which is like an auto vanguard skill, that when this unit attacks, you get to counter blast 1, and then you get to activate these follow abilities depending on how many number of cards in your soul. If you have 10 or more, you get to draw 1, and during this battle, this unit plus 1 crit. If you have 15 or more, then you choose any number of you and your opponent's rearguard and move it into your soul. And after that, you get to choose 2 cards from your soul and call it your rearguard circle, and during that turn, those units plus 10k, so which is good, and it's kind of like a good repetition, or like not a good repetition, it's like not so much of a carbon copy of the original Baromagnes, but this Baromagnes helps you to select any number of like rearguards of both you and your opponents. There are some good sides and then some downsides to it, because the original Baromagnes can help you to soul charge everyone regardless of everything, but for this one, you can try to choose any number of rearguards and try to shove it in, and then you can call it out. And those units plus 10k, which is kind of like the same thing as the old Baromagnes, but this time around, you can, for example, you can just if you pump out Brainwash Swirler, to a certain degree of number, and then you can just try to shove the front row attackers first, and then you can call it out, then you can swing with like much more bigger number, and I feel like this is a very good upgrade in terms of Baromagnes. But not to mention that Baromagnes has also have a last additional skill, which is if your soul has 20 or more cards during the battle that this unit attack, your opponent has to guard with 3 cards at the same time. So it's essentially like a kind of like not a guard restraint, but they have to force your opponent to guard with 3 or more at once. So which means that in addition, if they want to PG, that means they have to ditch 4 cards, right? So which is kind of painful, and I would say like this is where Baromagnes is kind of have like a huge upgrade and a huge leap from before, where of course even though that the soul count is kind of a little bit taxing at times, but depending on my build and depending how fast your key pieces have to come out in order for you to soul charge as soon as possible, as fast as possible, you can probably reach 15k, not 15k, like 15 cards in your soul by the time you're at grade 3. So the philosophy of me building this deck in general is that I just want to soul charge as fast as possible, and reaching like at least 10 to 15 souls by the time I'm at my first grade 3 turn, right? So the 20 is not that much of mandatory, but it will be very nice if you're able to do that. Then again, that's where the whole deck building comes in, and that's where we can move on straight into the main deck. So the first one will be, of course, the 3 copies of the original Baromagnes, sorry, the 3 new Baromagnes. So this is very important because persona riding is very important. Front row 10k, and then the draw 1, and yada yada, and also try to buff out your Vanguard Baromagnes, right? So I think that's self-explanatory. I don't really need to get tied into that. So the next one will be Morax. So this will be the rare card from 04, and the skill is that when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you have a Baromagnes Vanguard, you soul charge 1. So there you go with the soul charge, and this unit plus 5k. So essentially she'll be an 80k attacker. Then you can pay the additional cost of like counter blast 1 and choose any number of normal units from your soul and return to your deck and shuffle it. And for each of your normal units that you've returned this way, this unit plus 5k. So which is cool. Not only able to help you to soul charge early game, reach 18k on your first grade 3 turn, but you can also essentially use Morax as a finisher in late game if in turns that in case that you can't kill as fast as possible. Morax is just a backup for you to like swing for like a very huge number like late game or something, right? Because you can't like kill Baromagnes, which means that Baro has to like do OTK attack, like it has to do like OTK shenanigans by the time that you reach like grade 3. So the sooner you kill your opponent with Baro, the better. So this will be like a backup plan for Barrow to try to like finish games, right? So if you can return 20 times 5, that's like how many already? 20 times 5, that's like 100. Yeah, you can reach like 100k with this, so which is insane. So and funny at the same time. Next one, for the next grade 3, we have Pandemonium Tactics. So hey, who would have thought, right? Pandemonium Tactics, the reason why I want to play Pandemonium Tactics is pretty simple. Counter +1, Soul Charge 4. The rest is just final rush requirement, which you don't really have to do it, but the thing is that I just need to Soul Charge 4. Play 2. If you are so inclined, play 3, right? That's my, that's my suggestion, but I think like 2 is enough. So if you get it in your hand, try not to mulligan it. You just run the Elite Keep 1 just for you to Soul Charge the Soul Charge 4. So that's my justification behind it. So play 2 or you just play 3, but I think like 2 is a good enough ratio because like you have other cards that can help you Soul Charge early game, which move on to my grade 4, which is Burning Insight. So Burning Insight is a card that is from 0-4 as well, if I'm not mistaken, or like 0-2 actually. This is a card from 0-2, so Baromagnes does get this new additional support during the DZ era. So when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Baromagnes Vanguard, you Energy Blast 2 and choose up to 2 normal units from your drop zone, return to the bottom of your deck, and you get to Soul Charge 2. So you can essentially try to choose not to choose any normal units, so you can choose 0, but you still get to Soul Charge 2 for the cost of Energy Blast 2. So it's a really cheap cost for you to like Soul Charge as fast as possible, which is kind of nice. And not to mention that the second skill is also very good. So the second skill is Continuous Rearguard Circle. During your turn, if your soul has 15 or more cards, or if you if you soul charge a total of 3 or more cards during this turn, this unit plus 15k. So which is kind of nice because when you write into the grade 2, when you write into Baromagnes on your first grade 3 turn and you were able to call Burning Insight and help you to soul charge another 2 more cards or something, you essentially have already reached like soul charging 4 already in this one turn. So which means that he's a 25k beat stick on the grade 3 turn, which is also amazing. And given that if you're going first, this is a very painful number to guard because it essentially forces your opponent to guard with like 20k, and which is a very huge number depending on like if they have that kind of like shield in their hand. If not, that they have to force you have to force yourself you have to force them to take that damage, right? So that's kind of nice. So I think 4 is very good. I don't think that like I can play 3 because I feel like for the cost of Energy Blast 2 and trying to like Soul Charge 2 and an early beat stick for like a grade 3, like your first grade 3 turn Baromagnes is kind of good and very solid. So I would not try to compromise on that. And also it's very important that like when you try to call it out with Baromagnes skill, that's like that will be like a 35k beat stick, and on the personal turn there will be a 45k beat stick, so which is a very huge number. So that's kind of nice. And also for the next card support during in BT04 actually, so we have Shlom. Okay, so Shlom is an interesting card and I have to explain it why. Okay, so when this unit is called on the Rearguard Circle from your hand, if you reveal a grade 3 Baromagnes, you can reveal a grade 3 Baromagnes in your right deck. If you reveal, or if you have a grade 3 Vanguard or greater with grade 3 greater Vanguard with Barrel, you can choose 1 card from your drop zone and move into your soul, and if you have a grade 3 Barrel, then this unit plus 5k. So essentially she would be a 15k beat stick if you have a Barrel Vanguard. So of course you can call this early game during your grade 2, which is nice, but I find the 15k although it's a bit slow, but the 15k kind of helps because it kind of reach the magic number as well to a certain extent if you're going first, right? But also this helps you to try to fetch something back into your soul, which of course will be the pony, and also have like a Lilac Rusher for the grade 2 double red attacker that will get straight into that, which also like try to help you to recycle some of the key cards that can help you to soul charge as well. So that's kind of nice. And also the second skill is that when this unit is moved to your soul by the ability of Baromagnes Vanguard, a grade 2 or greater with Barrow Vanguard, you get to draw 1, right? So the draw is very good, and because Barrow's hand size is kind of like lacking in like most of the time, which is also have to pay attention to that. I would probably play 3. I think like 3 is enough. I wouldn't play 4 because I think like I want to make room for for the rest of the cards. So I think that 3 is probably good enough, right? So that's kind of nice. I'll try to like shove in as much of ponies and yada yada. And of course we have 3 Lilac Rushers. Lilac Rusher is very self-explanatory, although it is a 2k buff. It is very simple. When this unit attacks, if you have a grade 3 Baromagnes, okay, when this unit attacks, if you have a Baromagnes Vanguard, for every card in your soul during this battle, this unit costs 2k. So if you have 15 cards in your soul, that's gonna be like times 2. 15 times 2 is like how big already? Like 15 times 2 is 30k, so it's gonna be like a 32k beat stick, right? So kind of nice. If you have 10, it's gonna be like 20k, and so it's like 22k beat stick, yada yada, self-explanatory, which is good because this is the thing that you have to rely on for Baromagnes to hit huge numbers, both in early game and late game as well. So Lilac Rusher, definitely play 3, but I think you can get off with playing 4. But then again, like I said, my philosophy of building around this deck is that I have to find decks, find cards that can help me to soul charge as fast as possible, and hopefully 3 is good enough, and you pray that none of them land in your damage zone or like in the drop zone. But even then, that's where Shlom kind of helps you to fetch it back into your soul. Then you can call it out with Barrow, right? Anyways, for the great ones, I think this is kind of self-explanatory as well. 1 Sanctitude and 3 PGs. That's about it, 3 effect PGs. Next one we have on the list will be actually 4 Flaming Ponies actually. So it's basically Dimension Creeper, the old Dimension Creeper, where like in the soul, if bind itself, you soul charge 2, right? So kind of nice. If you manage to soul charge like a lot of ponies in the soul and then bind itself to soul charge 2 again, it would be very amazing. So that's why I would preferably have to play 4 of these and not 3. So you kind of have to be very consistent on this matter. So that's why I play 3 Flaming Pony. 3 Brainwash, but of course you can play 4. So the skill is when this unit plays on Red Guard Circle, soul charge 1, and the second Red Guard skill is that when this unit, sorry about that, just let me hold on. Alright, anyways, back to over here. When the second skill is that auto Red Guard skill, when these cards, when any of your cards is being soul charged, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard, this unit plus 5k. So essentially, the more you soul charge, the better. So that's why you get to power buff. So if you soul charge 2, he will become a 10k. If you soul charge 3, he will be a 15k. Good beat stick, good attacker. So you can play 4. Preferably, if I would say like if you want to make space for a lot of other things that help you soul charge it, I think you can technically play 4 of these. But of course, 3 is good enough for me in like a lot of cases. So yeah, so that's about it for the. Do I have any other great ones? Okay, now, of course I have a lot of great ones to go around with, so I'm playing Go Ahead Mikani. The reason why Mikani is very important is that you get to soul charge for the first skill, and the second skill is that if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can move it to your soul, and then you choose a Mikani from a grade 3 Mikani from your soul and call it the Red Guard Circle. But of course, I don't play grade 3 Mikani in this deck. The reason why that I played Mikani is probably self-explanatory. You get to soul charge 1 and you can move himself to the soul without calling anything. So which means that he's essentially plus 2 cards in the soul. So it's kind of nice and it kind of like helps solidify the increase the soul count as fast as possible. And that's about it. The next grade 3 to play, of course, the next grade 1 I've been playing is actually Amadine, Diaphodol Amadine. So continuous Red Guard skill during your turn. If you have 10 or more cards, this unit gets 10k. So 18k beat stick, 18k attacker, very self-explanatory, very good and very nice. But the most nicest thing about Amadine is also on the second skill itself, which auto Red Guard once per turn, you counterblast one and during this turn. For every card that you can try to have the ability that can soul charge, you increase that number of the soul charge plus 1. So for example, if you call Brainwash and it has a Soul Charge 1, it becomes Soul Charge 2. If you have Pandemonium Tactics that's Soul Charge 4, you increase it to 1, which means that you Soul Charge 5, which helps a lot because, like I said earlier, you want to turbo Soul Charge as fast as possible, so that's why Amandine is a very good, very important option. And of course, you can try to play 4 of Amandine, but beware of your CP. But then again, CP is not a, Counterblast is not an issue in this deck, besides Baromagnes and that's about it. Pandemonium, Baromagnes, you kind of need a lot of, you need to have at least like 1 or 2 Counterblasts on your early game by your first grade 3 turn, because Barrow still requires 1 CP, and if you want to use any other CP like on Pandemonium and Amandine, reserve at least like 2 Counterblasts for you to use this on standby. Or if you do not have Pandemonium Tactics but you have a lot of cards that can help you Soul Charge, then Amandine is a very good option for you to call out, then Counterblast 1, then you can increase and then you call anything that can Soul Charge and then increase it by 1. So if you have Call Burning Insight, then you get to Soul Charge 3 as well, so that's important. So I think 3 Amandine is pretty solid enough. I would not play 4. That's about it. Moving on, we have the triggers. 4 crits, 4 normal crits, and also 4 effect crits. So of course, I don't think like I have to explain to people why 4 effect crits is important, because although you're wasting your 15k shields for the sake of like boosting, like give 1 unit plus 2k, it also helps you to increase your soul count as fast as possible. So if you attack with your Vanguard last, and often that's where you have to call this effect crits as your boosters on your sides, end of battle move to soul and give 1 unit plus 2k, and you can pump the Vanguard plus 2k, which is not that bad actually, or like if there's any other attacking rearguard, it's also like viable. So play 4 effect crits in this deck. I highly recommend it to play it, because in some certain situations, if you are not able to Soul Charge to a certain number of extent of numbers in your soul, at least calling out this crit and shoving up to the soul is very important to reach that number, that quota, and that's about it. And moving on, we have 4 heals. Okay, for non-effect heals, I would not play effect heals in this deck. I don't think there's any point, because the more you Soul Charge, the more you realize that there's no point for you to play any effect triggers at all, but by that certain extent, right? Moving on to the few triggers, the second last trigger, front triggers. Because why would you play draw triggers in this deck, right? And also it's a 20k shield. There, it's self-explanatory. Blue OT. I would not play Darkseid's OT for several reasons. Number 1, Baromagnes has 1 crit, and also the power buff is already sufficient unless you don't have much Baromagnes if you do not have much Barrow in the soul, which means that you can't buff up your power. But Blue OT is surprisingly very important, because not only that you can give 1 crit to either side of your rearguards, because Baromagnes is technically a 5 attack deck. Fetching up something from your drop zone into your hand, whether or not it's a PG or a trigger or a key piece that can help you to Soul Charge, Blue OT is very important, and I will say that like this would be the best OT in Baromagnes in my personal opinion. Of course, you can play the purple OT, which allows you to heal and call something out from your hand that can help you to Soul Charge again, which is kind of nice. Red OT is especially very important, because you can swing like 2 times 100 million, which is cool, which is nice. But I prefer the Blue OT. Not only you can fetch something for defensive purposes, but you also can assign another crit to another rearguard, which is very lethal on a certain turn, right? So which is kind of nice. Also, I will not play yellow OT, because I don't see a reason for me to play the yellow OT for mass retiring and also try to draw like cards, because the last thing that you want Baromagnes to have is to keep on drawing cards, which is not what Barrow is supposed to be. You're supposed to Soul Charge, right? And that's about it. Anyways, that aside, what are the alternatives that I can give you? Surprisingly, you can play something else that can help you Soul Charge, like Tishkal, for example. Well, to be fair, you don't really need to Energy Blast a lot aside from Burning Insight. Well, Well, Tishkal is certainly very a useful card to try to discard and try to utilize as much energy, because Baromagnes doesn't use a lot of energy blasting, so I feel like Tishkal is incredibly important for you to like try to energy blast 3 and you get to draw 1. But not to mention that her second skill is actually like when placed on rear card circle, if you persona roll during this turn, you make soul charge 1, just soul charge it, she gets boost and she gets 5k, so she's a 15k booster and she allows you to soul charge 1, which is kind of nice. And guess like this would be like one of the few viable options that you can play in this deck. You can also play like this not Elementara Sanctitude, sorry, Twin Cast, okay, Protection Twin Cast, which is the Regalis piece. If you're going to follow a much more defensive build, I think like playing at least like making room for one space for Blitz Order is going to be like very important, because you have to be very defensive as possible. And I think like that's about like the things that I can suggest to you. Otherwise, there are plenty of cards that can help you to soul charge from like from either from 0-4, from 0-2 to 0-4 onwards. But I felt like there are much other alternative options that you can play as well. But I think like this will be like the other, I would say like the rest of my support that I can help you to try to like recommend to you. Otherwise, I think that's all I can say. There's nothing much. I think like that has a lot of like a rigidity of like building Baromagnes sometimes. The game plan actually, if we were to summarize, if I'm moving on to the summarizing part of like the game plan, is that you have to keep some of the key pieces in your hand. So when you mulligan, it's important for you to have at least one Burning Insight. If you have Pony in your hand, okay, yeah, I think like if your starting hand is like something like along these lines, right? Let's see if let's say that your starting hand is something along this line, right? So if you're going first, I think it's more important for you to ditch the Pony, and then you rest right into Green 1, and then for the next, and then you stand and draw. It could be something else. If it's not that important, like say Lilac, for example, if you drew into your Lilac, you can keep on discarding it. Then you rank Grade 2, then you rank Grade 3. You can discard something else, and then you can just do away, because you can just call your Slome. You can shove in your Pony, and then you can call out Burning Insight, then you can soul charge, then you can call Mikani, then you can soul charge 1, and then moving. So if you can get Brainwash in your hand, try not to discard it, because Brainwash is surprisingly very important in a lot of situations where it is essentially the most important bit stick for you to force your opponent to take that damage. So this is where my justification comes in on like certain things on the gameplay. Of course, the patterns will always be like rear, band, rear, and of course the power buff, and you can call like 2 Lilacs. You can call 2 Lilacs and then plus 10k, or you can just call 1 Lilac and 1 Burning Insight and plus 10k. So it will be like a 35 or 45k attacker, and this will be like 50k, 60k attacker depending on what's your, if you persona roll during this turn, right? So anyways, that's about it. I think that I kind of like swiftly try to summarize like what is my deck profile for Baromagnes, and of course I think that's all for the time being. If there's any other comments, what other suggestions you want to probably you want to give your feedback, or like some of the insights, please feel free to put in the comment section down below. And we'll see you then. Please stay tuned for more fight videos in the near future. So there's a lot of things that I can dish out within this week. But of course, assignments do be like that. I'm gonna kind of occupied with assignments, but I just want to dish this video out just because I want to have a Baromagnes deck profile for quite some time already, but I have never had the time to do it. And there you go. This is your Baromagnes deck profile. So that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been Professor in 095. Signing out.